Let's sit down. Oops. All over the place. So we're reading from 10:1. Okay, so here you start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So chapter 10, verse 1 from the Bhagavad Gita goes like this. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Bhuya Eva Mahabaho. Okay, that's too small, isn't it? Yeah. You should have heard it up there, actually. No worries. Sri Nume Paramam Vacha Tati Tham Priyamanani Vaksyami Hita Kameya. Okay, let's go again. Bhuya Eva Mahabaho. Sri Nume Paramam Vacha Yatteham Priyamayananya Vakshyami Hita Kameyaya. So, translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. It says, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, listen again, O mighty armed Arjuna, because you are my dear friend, for your benefit I shall speak to you further, giving knowledge that is better than what I have already explained to you. So Krishna has already explained to Arjuna before a lot of knowledge, but sometimes it's like when we want knowledge, we don't understand it the first time. If we're learning something, we look at it, we process it, we do it, and then it doesn't sink into our mind. So we have to ask again. So in a similar fashion, this is what Arjuna is doing. And for Krishna, he's saying, okay, I'll tell it to you again. I've told you in the last few chapters everything, but I'll explain it again to you, so you can have a better understanding. So, from the previous chapters, we realize, like chapter 7 and chapter 8 in the Bhagavad Gita, explain about devotional service, pure devotional service. There's no need for any kind of speculation, doing any kind of mystic yoga or anything like this, or wanting any fruitive activities. See, the thing is, to understand Krishna, we have to understand who He is, what He does, what He looks like. And to understand Him, to be attracted to Him, you have to accept Him open armed, say, yes, I accept Krishna for who He is, what He does, and what He doesn't do. The problem we have is, some people are not attracted to Him. Those who are pure to Him, who have the desire within their hearts, are automatically attracted to Him. But some people are not that pure enough, they don't have that understanding, we don't have that knowledge, or sometimes they're on a very basic level. They are attracted to other features like the Paramatma and the Brahmajyoti. So it's like, saying, I can hold this here, I can either hold it like this or hold it like this. But this is easier, and that's going the wrong way around. So this is the idea that Krishna is trying to tell Krishna Krishna is trying to tell Arjuna that there's a straightforward path, and just follow that. And I'll explain to you more of detail. And the verse that Prabhuji was talking about yesterday, that in a nutshell kind of explains what Krishna He's trying to tell Arjuna, how do you become a pure devotee? Krishna says in 9:34, Man mana bhav mad bhakto, mad yaji mam namaskuru, mam evasya yuktavam, atmana mat pranaya. So always think of me, become my devotee, pay obeisances, like Prabhuji is there. Worship me, completely absorbed in me. Surely you will come to me. So manmana, in this text here, Krishna is saying, meditate on me. Meditate on the form of Krishna. If you can't meditate on the form of Krishna, think of his name, meditate on his name. Because Krishna and his name are non-different. And how do you become fixed on him? You become fixed on him on his opulence, of his greatness, of how beautifully he looks on the altar. When you look at him, you're automatically attracted to him. There's always something that pulls you towards Krishna. When you're looking at him on the altar, you think, something is always so different about him. Something is just, that gets you wanted to engage more in Krishna. And the easiest way to think of Krishna and his opulence, one opulence is how beautiful he looks on the altar, as he always does. He's always looking ever so beautiful. But then, that's one aspect. But then you look all around us. Look at Krishna's opulence everywhere. You look at the beautiful flowers. Okay. You see all these beautiful trees that give out so much loving fruit. You see all this opulence all around is done by Krishna. You see the lakes, these oceans, the understanding of what's there. And you think, wow, this is all Krishna is doing. So when we come to this chapter, chapter 10, which is opulence of the Absolute. So who is the Absolute? The Absolute is Krishna. He's absolute in everything. And anything and everything, he's absolute. So here in this chapter, at the beginning of this chapter, Krishna again is talking to Arjuna. And why is he talking to him? Because Arjuna is Krishna's friend. And sometimes when you have friends, you don't mind explaining something over and over again until someone understands. You have many different ways of explaining to someone. You can either explain it practically to someone, or you can explain it verbally, or you can say, let me show you how this is done, you see. So here Krishna is trying to do the same thing. Let me explain it to you again, because I like you so much, I love you so much, you're my dear friend, and it's my duty to tell you why you're here, why are you on this battlefield, what are you here for. So let me tell you, explain to you, because you asked me to be your guide, to become my guru. So I've fallen down, I want you to be my guru, please help me, please guide me. So Krishna also has that duty to guide him. So Krishna is not trying to, he's talking about his opulence, like he's not trying to be all puffed up. Like, if somebody was very opulent, very powerful, he'd always think, I am doing this, and I am this, and I am this, this is me, I am because of this. But no, Krishna's not like that. Krishna is very humble. He's saying, my opulence, I'll just tell you what it is, explain it to you, so you understand who I am, what I do, what's my role, and where everybody fits into this. And that's Krishna as being so merciful to reveal himself. Quite often we hear there's a very in English we hear it quite often. We say, God is great. We say that a lot, don't we? God is great, yes. But how is he great? How do we know he's great? Now sometimes we think as God is, as depicted in movies and stuff, this is an old fella with a long white flowing beard, sitting up in the clouds and just minding his own business, and that's God for you. But that's one aspect of how people see God. And they think, well, how can he be so great? What's so great about an old person sitting in the clouds thinking that's God? What has he done? Okay, they said he, the whole earth was created within 7 days. Yes, but, or 6 days, 7th day, he took a rest, as it says. But what after that? Does everything just happen by itself? So we have that conflicting evidence. We always have people asking that they cannot see God. Where is God? I can't see God. The thing is, why doesn't God appear before me? They say, show me God. But then when we come to the altar, we quite often say, look, that's Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's what he looks like. And then people quite often say, well, how do you know he looks like that? But they would say we have the books, the Srimad Bhagavatam, and we have so many other literatures, the Upanishads. They all tell us, they give a very vivid description of the absolute personality, Supreme Personality of Godhead and what Krishna actually looks like. So it's there, it's got a good description. Now, and when you develop, the thing is, when you have attraction to Lord Krishna, revelation comes from within. Something from inside you, that spark will develop. Now don't forget, we are all, as we say, part and parcel of Krishna. So we have that minute particle inside us as a Paramatma. He's inside every single living being that we know, whether it be humans, plants, trees, animals. Everything has that Paramatma inside them in a very minute quantity. And that's why we are attracted to everything. So we are attracted to everything because that Paramatma is inside each one of us. That's how we have that attraction. And when we have that attraction, similarly, because we're part and parcel of Krishna, that attraction forces us to come together. So now, when we talk about God, Bhagavan, we say God is great, so how is he great? So, God has 6 opulences, as we call it. Anyone has any idea what they are, roughly? Yes? Yeah, okay. So he has 6 of them, which is what you said is knowledge, wealth, strength, fame, and beauty. Yeah? And also renunciation. Someone with all these qualities, he is known as Bhagavan, as a Supreme Lord, and that is Lord Krishna. Because then we say, how do we know he's Bhagavan? Because when Lord Krishna came to the planet Earth, he displayed all 6 opulences here. So, in the beginning of this, we say, Bhagavan Uvacha. We don't say Krishna, because we could have said Krishna said this, but it says Bhagavan Uvacha, which means Bhagavan said it, right? So that means the Supreme Personality of Godhead is saying, he is saying this. So that's quite important, because we're not labeling someone as, oh, Krishna said it, but we're saying the Supreme Personality of Godhead is saying, so Bhagavan, someone who has all these opulences. So now, when we look at the previous chapters, he's talking about his energies. Krishna's talking about his energies. And then he's talking about bhakti. And now he's going to come to a point where he tells us how to become fixed in bhakti. How do we become fixed in bhakti? So, to become fixed in bhakti, we have to know, we have to have a little understanding of Krishna's opulences. Okay, so he's got 6 of them, like we said. The first is beauty, if you go on beauty, yeah? So the first one is beauty. All the gopis of Vrindavan, they weren't aware of who Krishna was. They weren't aware, all they were thinking was Lord Krishna is just a cowherd boy. They weren't aware that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So they were automatically attracted to Krishna. Why? Because they were captured by his beauty. And when you think of it, they said, well, you've got husbands at home, what are they? Why are you attracted to them? No, but they're saying, well, no, we're not attracted to them. We're living with them, but we're so attracted to Krishna. Again, because that Paramatma feature inside, we have that little spark inside all of us. So that's why they were attracted. All the gopis, Krishna, the moment Krishna played his flute, the gopis would come running. They would just come to see Krishna. And like when the gopis had the desire to dance with Krishna, he performed Ras Leela. When you think of it, they just had that desire because Krishna was so beautiful to be with Krishna. So he fulfilled that for them. And then we talk about second one is strength. Where does strength come in? We think, how did Lord Krishna display the power of his strength? Well, we see how many demons that he killed while he's in Vrindavan and Mathura. Okay? And on top of that, then we see when Lord Krishna said, why don't you pray to Govardhan mountain? Because that provides us with substance and everything that we need for our well-being and living. And then Lord Indra became angry, and all those torrents of rain and everything. And what did Krishna do? He lifted the whole of Govardhan hill on his left hand on a small finger, and he held it up for 7 days. So that's how strong Krishna was. Okay. And then we come to famous, Now Krishna is known in all 3 worlds. Higher planets, lower planets. So all these, in all 3 worlds, he has millions of Lakshmis that are serving him in Vaikuntha. And even after so many years, when you think of it, even today, everyone is still talking about Krishna. See how famous he is. After 5,000 years, normally you talk about a person, like a Hollywood actor or someone, you probably talk about him for a few years. And then after that, nobody knows him again. No one understands him. And they say, there was someone called this, but he was like this. But with Krishna, we're still talking about his pastime. Look after so many years, we're still talking about Lord Krishna and the feats he done and his pastimes. That's amazing. It's like, that's how famous he is. Because no one's actually ever come and done anything like him before, and nobody ever will. That's a fact. So that's how famous Krishna is. The wealth, Krishna, where you see there's that fruit vendor who wanted to sell fruits to Krishna when he came running out. All his wealth. And all she was doing, because Krishna was coming out with a few grains of rice in his hand, given to the lady who had a basket of fruits, and she was so attracted to Krishna that rather than a handful of grains of rice, she probably ended up with 2 or 3 grains, but the attraction with loving exchange that took place, she offered all the fruits to Krishna. And then what did Krishna do? Don't forget, he's only like a few years old yet. Was it a few months, I think? He filled up her basket full of jewels. Not that she knew she had anything, she just picked up a basket and went home, covered it and went home. And when she got home, she opened it, she looked, it's full of jewels. So that's Krishna's wealth. And also, Krishna says to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita 6.7, whatever you want to see, you can see here in this body all at once. So Krishna is saying, whatever you want to see, you can see in this body, I'm all here, whatever you want to see, you can see it. So his wealth, there's no bounds of Krishna's wealth, Someone might say, I'm a millionaire, a billionaire, a trillionaire. But does he have all the wealth in the world? No. Krishna has all the wealth they can aspire for. And then knowledge. Number 5 was knowledge. Krishna is saying, because he's seated in everyone's heart, okay, he knows everything that's happening from Lord Brahma down to the tiniest ant. Now, who would say that he has knowledge of everything and everyone in the world? That's only Krishna saying that. In Bhagavad Gita, further down, 13.2, Krishna categorically states that you should understand that I am also the knower in all bodies, and to understand this body and its owner is called knowledge. That is my opinion. 13.2 that was. And then he says, the living entity is a knower of his particular body, but Lord Krishna is a supreme knower, proprietor, and dweller in all bodies. Therefore, he is a super knower, the omniscient, the embodiment of total knowledge. He is both the knower and that which is to be known. He is addressed by Arjuna, knowing everything, you are all that is knowable. In Gita 11.3. So here, Arjuna is addressing Krishna as knowing everything, you are all that is knowable. Sorry about that. So that's how knowledgeable Krishna is. And then the last one is renunciation. It's like, everything's there, you take a step back from it, I have nothing to do with it. That's renunciation. It's there. And Lord Krishna states, again in the Bhagavad Gita, there is nothing, whatever that is higher than I. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. From Bhagavad Gita 7.7. And like a string of pearls, all of Krishna's opulences can be taken off and thrown away while Krishna remains complete in himself. So if Krishna wants to give something to someone, he'll give it completely. He's not attached to it saying, oh, I gave you this, I want it back. It's not like that. He gives wholeheartedly. It's not like that. Krishna remains complete in himself. Lord Krishna is much more than the sum of his total creation. In my transcendental form, I pervade all this creation. All things are resting in me, but I am not in them. Yet everything that is created does not rest on me. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, still myself is the very source of creation. So Krishna creates all these material universes, but he stays in his own abode in Vaikuntha, Golok, Vrindavan. So he's given Brahmaji the instructions to look after this. You're in charge of everything that happens here. He takes a step back, he just relaxes, he enjoys. He goes, if you have any difficulty, okay, there's Brahma, there's Lord Shiva, there's so many other demigods who are given these positional roles to carry out everything in creation and to maintain it. But should something happen, if you ever feel you get stuck, if you don't think you have the capacity to deal with it, then come and see me. But it's your responsibility. You guys deal with it, This is what Krishna says. This is what he says. So there, Lord Krishna creates everything in a spirit of detachment. He's not attached to anything. He's created so many millions of universes. It's like when Brahma goes to Lord Krishna, he's saying, there's a lot of difficulties in my universe. I don't know what to do. And then Krishna looks at him and goes, oh, okay, so where are you from? And Lord Brahma says, well, I'm from your universe. And then within a flash of a few seconds, these other Brahmas come in. I say, who are these? This is also Brahma. He's from another universe, and he's from another one, and he's from another one, and he's from another one. Like all had different number of heads. He goes, you're a Brahma with 4 heads. There's a Brahma with 8 heads. There's a Brahma with 16 heads. There's a Brahma with 32 heads. So they all have their universes. So which universe are you from? And that's where Brahma get bewildered. Oh my God, I thought I was the only Brahma, but obviously there are more than me. So this is how Krishna remains so detached. So he's saying, the whole cosmic order is under me. By my will, it manifested again and again, and by my will, it is annihilated in the end. Oh, Dhananjaya, all this work cannot buy. Shri Shri Radha Gokul Nand Bhagwan Ji ki, Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Shri Shri Gaurnitai ki, Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So all this work cannot bind me. I'm ever unattached, seated as though he's neutral. He's neutral. He just takes a neutral. He's like a referee in a football match, you know. He look at both sides, see what's happening. You know, he's looking at, okay. So if someone's committed a foul or something, you say, hey, you committed a foul. Give him a free kick. So that's what Krishna does. He looks at everything, who's doing what and everything. So now when we come to the point, say, his opulence, Krishna, his greatness, why is he the absolute? Now we're thinking, why is he the absolute? Why isn't someone else like? Why isn't Lord Brahma the absolute? Because Lord Brahma comes from Lord Krishna as the first living being. But in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 1, Verse 1, it says, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadaso Yato Navat Itaratas Charteshu Bhigvaswarat Tine Brahme Hride Yad Adi Kavaye Muyanti Yat Surya Tejo Vari Mridam Yatha Vinmayo Yatra Trisago Mrisha Dham Svena Sadi Nirashta Kahukum Satyam Param Dhimahi. So, from the Srimad Bhagavatam, the first verse, when Vyasadeva is writing this, the very first verse in itself will explain to you why Krishna is the Absolute. And the translation of that verse goes, O my Lord Krishna, O my Lord Sri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes in this creation, substance and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusionary representation of water seen in fire or land seen on water. Only because of him do the material universes temporarily manifested by the reactions of the 3 modes of nature appear factual. Although they are unreal, I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Sri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from illusory representation of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. So it's a lot to take in, but that actually tells you why Lord Krishna is the absolute truth. And when you want to know about his opulences, it's quite clearly stated there that he is the cause of all causes. Everything comes from him. Everything is manifested from him. Anything is annihilated by him. Even Brahmaji took this knowledge from him. So this just shows you the greatness of Lord Krishna. And in the previous verses we talked about bhakti and how to fix your mind in bhakti. How do we fix the mind in bhakti? The key to becoming a good devotee, to fixing your mind in bhakti, is that we need to hear more. We need to listen. Is what we're all doing here today. We are listening. The more we listen, the more we understand. It's like they're saying, when you want to fall in love with someone, you have to listen about them. You have to know what they do, what they prefer, what do they like, what are their likings. And only then you will understand who they are. And then you will fall in love with them. Okay. When a boy goes out with a girl, the first thing you want to know more about that person before you go out with them. So in a similar way, we're coming here to hear more about Lord Krishna. So we're listening about the glories of Lord Krishna, so we can develop that love within us. And once that love develops within us, that bhakti, the seed of bhakti, will automatically start to grow. Our listening is the water that goes in to feed that love that's within the heart on that seed. And then the love for Krishna will grow. But we have to listen to it very attentively. We need to hear it within the association of devotees, because why? When you read something or listen to something on your own, you might just pick up one or two things, and your mind might not be focused on how you're picking up, how you're listening to something. But when we're in the association of devotees, it's important, because as we know, with devotees, especially when you have senior devotees, I can say something in a totally different way. You might not understand it. But when you have really elevated, very spiritual people, like Guru Maharajas, or when you listen to Prabhupada, the way they explain it, because they've experienced something so different than what we are, because we're still on that first rung of the ladder, and they're probably up there on the ladder. So their understanding, their explanation, their experience, their feelings, right? They pour those out to us. When they're explaining about Lord Krishna, when they explain, it comes from within their heart. They're explaining, it's non-stop for them. They can talk hours and hours just on one topic, because they have that love and feeling inside them. And when we listen to them, that's why we say we should always listen in association devotees, because when we listen to them, that eagerness and that love for Krishna will develop within us. We want to hear more. We want to hear more about Krishna. We want to hear more from them. Why? Because the mood and the purity of these realized souls will enter into our heart. That's why we constantly need to hear from them, because they'll explain in such a nice, beautiful manner that sometimes it's a very difficult topic. We can't understand it, but the way they explain it to us, we just get so attracted to it, and we're thinking, yes, I want to listen more and more about this. So hence Krishna is talking to Arjuna, because he's dear to him. He goes, I want that love for you to develop, because you're very dear to me. Now quite often, we talk so much every day, we do so much talking, talk at work. We have so much of this mundane talking, gossip, lots of gossip, TV serials, we have this, that happened, we're talking about other people. So what is the actual function of the tongue that we have? The tongue has two functions. Okay. One is to taste prasadam, and the second is to speak. But of the two, the heart is in speech. Trying to talk is very difficult. The speech that we use is very difficult to control. That's why they say you've got 2 ears for listening and 1 tongue for talking. So we need to hear more from the authority about Lord Krishna so that we can approach him. So that's why they say you should always try and approach a spiritual master, because we can learn from them. So in this cycle of, as humans now, we've come through a cycle of 8.4 million species of life. We've gone through so many, and now we have this opportunity to come to this life of humans. And what's our job? Our job is to, as we're humans, we've got this opportunity to cross this ocean of birth and death after going through these repeated cycles of birth and death. Because Krishna does say, whatever you think at the time of death, that is what you will go to, right? So this is why we're saying we need to have a spiritual master. We have Srila Prabhupada there. He's given us so much guidance. We have our spiritual masters there. They constantly give us guidance. Why? Because the spiritual masters, Srila Prabhupada is the captain of that boat. We're trying to cross over this ocean of birth and death. So Srila Prabhupada and our spiritual masters, they are the captains of our boat. The Vedic knowledge in the books and from the acharyas, they are the breezes that will take us through in the proper direction. Because if you have no direction, we'll end up just going around and end up the same place. We don't want that. We want the push from them. We want to learn from them. So they guide us, so we're all going in a direction. Because if you're trying to row a boat, and one person not going, the other person, the boat won't go anywhere. It'll just stay stagnant. But we don't want to have this stagnant boat. We want to get it to the end of the other end of the shore. So, therefore, the process of hearing and chanting is a very basic principle of our spiritual life. So, we say hearing is very important. Why do we say it's important? It's very important. The sound aspect is important. I mean, I'm sure we all put alarm clocks in the morning to wake up, yes? Yeah? So we all need an alarm clock to wake up. We don't just write on a piece of paper, wake me up at 5 o'clock and put it on the side of a bed and thinking, yes, that paper will wake me up. No, it won't wake us up because it can't do that. So we need a sound. That's why you put an alarm clock on. Normally, if you don't put an alarm clock, you tell someone, can you wake me up at 5 o'clock, right? Sometimes when I have to go to work, I'll either tell my wife or my wife will tell me, wake me up at this time. You know, I'll say to her, wake up. You said 5 o'clock is 5 o'clock. Wake up. Please wake up, you know. So that's the power of hearing, you know. Hearing is constant, 24 hours a day. Hearing never stops. The moment you think you can sit down peacefully and not hear anything, you still hear something. That's how powerful hearing is, you know. So, the power of hearing, no matter where you are, even in a quiet room. I remember, Prabhuji, you will probably remember, the example Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Manor, was in hospital during COVID in 2020. He was unconsciousness, in his unconsciousness. And then someone went to visit him in a hospital, and someone said, Hare Krishna. And as soon as somebody said that, Guru Maharaj opened his eyes. He's going to say something, but then the person who's visiting him, he said, Maharaj, don't say anything, just save your energy. So that was the power, that is the actual power of hearing, how strong it is. So someone who's unconscious can still hear, you know. So that's why we always say the chanting of the holy name is so important. Listen to it whenever you get the opportunity. Don't miss the opportunities, 24 hours a day. So we have to take this very seriously. And as we know, there are 9 processes of devotional service. Hearing is one of them, and that's so important. But sometimes people think we're limited with time. We don't have the time to hear. We don't have a chance to listen to it. You know, when you're working, depending where you work, your environment allows you to listen to hearing or not. It gets difficult. So there are other aspects. Krishna says if you can't do that, the very basics you can do. Krishna says, offer me with love a leaf, flower, fruit and water, and I will accept it as long as it's followed, it's offered in love. And Krishna, you know, will reciprocate in the way he thinks it's appropriate. You know, sometimes you think, well, how does one offer a leaf or a flower to Krishna? And how does he reciprocate? Again, going back, that fruit vendor, she was just offering the fruits to Krishna out of love. She didn't want nothing in exchange. And what did Krishna give her? Krishna gave her all this wealth. There's jewels in the baskets that she's taken home. Okay. And then we say, offer a flower. What's the significance of offering a flower? how does Krishna reciprocate? Now when you hear the pastimes of Gajendra, he's a very powerful elephant. He goes out with his family. They go out to this beautiful lake and having a day out. You know, the whole family's on one side, all his family, all his relatives are there. He decides to go into the lake to have a bath. You know, so that there's two aspects that come there. One is you're learning that you're on your own, nobody's with you. Your whole family is watching you. You're alone in there. And little did you realize that when it's a time of death, nobody can stop you. Yeah. So Gajendra, he didn't, even though he was so strong and powerful, he didn't realize there's a crocodile in there. So the crocodile caught his leg. And now, if Gajendra was on land, he's a very powerful elephant. But the lake is not his territory. He's not powerful at all. Even though he's very strong and powerful, this went on for a long time, for many years. And in the end, what happened? Even though Gajendra was so powerful, he owned so much, his whole family was looking at him. They couldn't do nothing. In the end, what did he do? He remembered his past life. And then he remembered, I need to offer something to Krishna. What did he do? He plucked up a flower with all the courage and all the strength that he had. He just offered it to Krishna. He goes, Krishna, I am offering you this flower. Please save me. He had nothing left in him. He knew he's dying, but at the last minute he picked up the flower and offered it to Krishna. And that's the power of when you offer something to Krishna. This is it. And he reciprocates in a way. And quite often we think, whatever devotional service that we're doing, you know, does anyone really take note of it? You know? It's like when we drive in a car. We all drive cars, yeah? And sometimes the speed limit is 30, you might go 35 or 40, without realizing you might go through a red light. Hey, next minute, your speeding ticket comes home. You said, but I'm sure I was doing less than the speed limit. No, but the speed limit comes to you. You're given the fine. So in a similar way, Krishna has his cameras constantly looking at what we're doing. And when he realized that, yes, these people are doing devotional service, he does make a note of it. And whatever bad actions they're doing, they're also noted as well. So he has like an accountant saying, you know, credit and balance, you know, debits and balance, they're all taken care of. So in that aspect, whatever devotional service we do, again, we think, how will he repay us? In chapter 4, verse 11, Krishna says, as all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O Sanapartha. So he will reward you accordingly to whatever devotional service you're doing. So we come back to the essence where we started, the opulence of the absolute. We had that English word where we say, God is great. Yeah? So we say, how is God great? So, how God is great is defined in these 4 verses, which are obviously the key verses in the Bhagavad Gita itself. Krishna says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam parvartate iti matva bhajante ma buddha bhava samanvita. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. Okay. So you're developing that path of bhakti. Then Krishna says, Machit madgat prana bhodiyantam parasparam katyantas cha mami nityam jishanti cha ramanti cha. And the thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. So again, the topic of how to develop bhakti. You're constantly listening and talking about Krishna. And in 10.10, Tesham satatam yuktanam bhajatam priti purvikam dadani bhukti yogam tam yena mam upantyate. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give them the understanding by which they can come to me. And then 10.11, Tesham evan kampurtham aham agyana janam taham nasyami tata bhav sthito Jnana Depam Bharvashta. To show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born from ignorance. So, Krishna is telling us clearly in those 4 verses how we should approach him, how our bhakti should develop, why he is the Supreme Personality of, why he is the absolute Supreme Personality of Godhead, what are his qualities, what are his qualifications to be called Bhagwan. And even so, he's given us the opportunity to serve him whichever way we can. There's many ways of serving him. You can serve him on the altar, cooking preparations, serving at home, serving here at the manor. And there's many ways you can glorify his name. And if you can't glorify him any other way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us the very easiest way that we can all call out and do devotional service is by chanting his holy name. So what do? He's made it so you chant it anytime, any place, anywhere. All you have to do is lift your hands up. So everybody lift your hands up. And then what do we say? We say, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So what we are asking there is, please, Lord Krishna, engage me in your devotional service. That's all I want. I don't want nothing else. Once we engage in devotional service, we're hoping to be on that path where we can better ourselves and free ourselves from this cycle of birth and death. So I'll end it there. I said just a few minutes before Aarti starts. Any comments or any questions? Yeah, absolutely. We can't understand Krishna's... He's so difficult to understand, but Krishna is still looking like a 16-year-old cowherd boy. That's the beauty of Krishna. He never ages. The image that we've been taught in schools is like a really old person with a long white beard, but that's not him. We can see him with a vivid description. Guru Maharaj says, His Holiness Bhakti Jara said, Krishna is the one who is from Vrindavan. That is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And also it says on Srimad Bhagavatam, the first canto, verse 1, My Lord Sri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead. I offer my humble respectful obeisance unto you. I meditate because Lord Krishna, he is the absolute. So it's that Lord Krishna, the cowherd boy, who is the one who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he's still beautiful every single day when you see him. He's all pervading, all everywhere. So that's why we're genuinely attracted to him. That's who we should all be attracted to. And meditate on that form, meditate on him. And surely one day we're all waiting, with the help of the spiritual masters, Srila Prabhupada. They were guiding us to the path where we can all serve Lord Krishna in Vaikuntha. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Shri Shri Radha Gokul Nand ki, Shri Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Shri Gauranitai ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, ki bajayo jayo Gaura Chandre आरतिक शोभा की बजाय जय गौरचंद्रे आरतिक शोभा भजिनी वदन उज्ज्वल